Welcome back, folks, to World of Warships Legends. I'm Soopa-Dave, and today we're gonna start our We're gonna do some of the Azure Lane guides with the commanders tied to the ships they come out with. And today is gonna be Azure Lane Chapayev because we actually missed her in the Azure Lane guide, and it's okay. She's not a bad commander, as we'll talk about her with AL Chappie. But she's kind of limited, right? So she's a Russian cruiser commander, and I'll be honest, she really, for me, only works pretty well on AL Chappie. So AL Chappie is different than the regular Chappie. We'll talk about this here, more about the ship here in a second, but let's get into the commander. We're using AL Chappie. She's very unique, but I don't use her a lot, and we're using Mimbelli and Du Fournet for the HE damage. There's probably other routes you could go with instead of Du Fournet here, but because you're a lot of times using HE, um, it's not a bad choice. Honestly, it probably would take something like Sarika over um, that now. But that being said, her base trait is Cavaliers Acumen. To be honest with you, it's not a very handy one. I had somebody comment that it's good for gunboat destroyers. I don't know why you would take this perk over Sims or Bergami, in my opinion. That being said, we're using Beyond Range because we are not building into Fire Chance on this build. In my original playthrough for this ship, I did build it with Eve Kuzganov more fire build, and I still think that's a very good way to play the ship. Otherwise, the Chapaya here with this build is another good one as well. We're doing intuitive, Sodar, and radar duration. Biggest thing I reuse this for is to see where the closest ship is to me. It's good for hunting destroyers. Sponge for incoming damage, and Cavalier of the Ether. And what this does is uh, it boosts your HE damage significantly. However, it does almost destroy your fire chance. All right, which is okay because we're also taking Equilibrium of Power, which boosts your armor pen of your HE shells by 30%, meaning you're up in a lot of things with this light cruiser. Also, it knocks out your fire chance. So basically, we've given up hope on starting on fire, stuff on fire, to do a lot more damage. Now, it does hurt our damage a little bit, but remember, we get that bonus right here, so it's kind of countering that. So really, we're getting a huge boost to our armor penetration, is really what's going on when you stack these perks together, right? You lose fire chance, but you get huge armor pen, and you can dish out a ton of damage with these guns. Um, so the reason, and more on Chapaya here, I don't use her a lot because she only fits really well for this, in my opinion. Could you put on other ships? I could totally 100% see that. But if you're doing that, you're basically a lot of times making your AP not as good as your HE because you're really strengthening your HE. And Russian cruisers have really good AP. I think it's very underrated, and that's the downside to her. And you already have Kuzganov, which is a great commander, and Lip and Lightfall. There's just so many good commanders, right? So the big thing here with the ship, we are using Aiming Systems Mod 1, Prop Mod 2, Concealment is always in 3, and in the last slot, Main Battery Mod 3, and you can upgrade that if you want. You do have two sonars. We are not taking fully packed. With me having intuitive, where I can see where the closest guy is, I generally never need more than three of the radars. Now, could you take fully packed? Absolutely. If you're building this into Fire Chance, which if you'd see my original play guide on this, I did. And the reason is that way you could have three radars if you really wanted, and the heals, right? The radar and the heals. While I don't necessarily need three radars, the extra heal is kind of handy. Um, That being said, these are long radars, short duration. Also, your heals not bad for a cruiser, right? So the difference here now as we get into stats between this and the regular Chapaya is the other Chapaya is more about burning stuff down and the AP is a little bit stronger. However, the HE damage that AL Chappie can put out naturally with this ship is really good. So this is more uh, the regular Tech Tree one is more of a fire spammer or AP, whatever you decide to build it into. This one is going to be more HE. That doesn't mean not don't use AP. You'll see I use AP in our match quite a bit here. But anyway, you have 37,000 health with a 37% fire resistance. The main battery, you have 12 152s, so it's a light cruiser. Your main battery range is 17.5. Your reload is 7.8. Your turret traverse is awful for a light cruiser, but honestly, if you play all battle or ships like I do, it's not bad. Shell grouping is 2.2, but you'll see that the ship has some inaccuracy in its stats, but that's not really the ship. That's me shooting destroyers all the time with this thing. Um, as you can see, the HE, right? Our HE damage is almost 3,000. Muzzle velocity. This is one thing I want to bring up. It's Russian, so it's not as lofty as like a British cruiser. Um, you're going to struggle to sometimes loft even small islands with it because it's Russian, right? They're laser beams. You see, our fire chance is 0. It only starts out at 5. But when you do build into fire with this thing, if you do a fire build commander like Kuzanov or something, you can get a lot of fire out of these things because you do have 12 guns. While not as good as the normal Chapaya, but you tie that in with the HE damage, you can 100% go that route. Now you can see this thing initially has quarter pen, and now it essentially has 1/3 pen because of the equilibrium of power. We're able to pen 48 millimeters of armor. It would be nice if we could get that to 50, but we can't. Um, Maybe look into a possibility. I don't think there's really anything that would get that up to 50, but having 50 would be really nice for some battleship decks. AP damage 3,100, so not a ton, but that doesn't mean you don't use it. All right, because this is still Russian AP. It pens a lot better than you think, and it only needs, because of the caliber size, it only needs 25 millimeters to arm it, meaning uh, you can use it on light cruisers, and you're not going to get a whole lot of overpens with it. Secondaries, you got 8 of them. Oh, they're only 5.2, so not really worth mentioning. Torpedoes, you have 3 per side. They're the very defensive torps. You rarely use them unless somebody's trying to sneak around you or to you, or you sneak attack somebody else. A defense, not terrible, not great, right? Most of it's under 4 kilometers, so you're shooting down planes after they drop. Maneuverability, this thing has a terrible turning circle. However, it does have a good rudder, so you can be shifty with it. You're just not making big circles, and I wouldn't recommend doing that. All right. Concealment, it's terrible. It's Russian. I mean, you're talking about almost, there's battleships at the tier with basically this concealment. All right. So you need to use island cover to get up close. I do not recommend playing this as a rangy ship. You could go with the rudder, and I could see the argument for it. But when you have a radar, there's, in my point, no point in playing at the back of the map. Stats. You can see it pretty effective with this ship. I've played it a few times. The issue with this ship, guys, for me, is sometimes this thing you need spotting in it, and you're gonna see that I have a really good match to showcase this ship for some of the reasons that we're gonna talk about. Its strengths, its weaknesses, it's all gonna be in our match. Could I have picked an almost 200k game where I just burn everything to the ground or spam HE at range? Maybe, but I don't think it would have showcased the ship very well. Um, but anyway, you can see the torpedo accuracy is good. It's because you're only 4 kilometers. You're unlikely to miss at that range. Average results for the ship, you can see 89,000. So uh, I'm averaging decent, particularly for a tier 7 cruiser. And potential damage against me is almost 750,000, meaning people are trying to get rid of me in this. And I survive about half the battles, so I'm doing pretty well on that front. You can you don't want to be center attention, but you're gonna take some attention because you have a radar, and you do have to learn how to make yourself skinny, or know when you're gonna get overpenned in cases like that. Just because this is a light cruiser doesn't mean you play it at the back of the map, guys. In my opinion, anyway. Armor. It has 26, so anything 15 inches and above is going to overmatch. Why is that a problem? Because this is what anything with 15-inch guns or bigger looks at. It's there. You're literally just a citadel to them. You got to be careful. You really got to be careful. Um, that being said, you can, if you get in a fight with a cruiser, you can bow tank them. All right. Or like if you run across a Scharnhorst or something with smaller guns, you can absolutely bow tank, right? Also, just keep in mind this is really flat armor on the side, like really flat down the side of it, and there's not much curve to it, so you gotta be careful. On a technicality, can you bounce shells off your citadel? Yeah, wouldn't rely on it though, because above it you have that light green, and that's 26 still, right, on your side plating, and that's not going to stop any big battleship shells. There we go, right there, so you guys can see. So you gotta be careful in this thing. As we start the match, it's disclaimer time. This is a beginner's video meant to help people new to the ship or new to the game. This is not meant for professional gamers that know everything there is to know about everything in the universe. There are multiple ways to play and build this ship, and I am an above average player. Not the world's best. I make mistakes. You may see one in this match. You didn't come here for pronunciations. I'm as good as anybody at slaughtering beautiful languages all the time. With that out of the way, we're on north, and there is a Mirage moving up on us. That isn't a Malfi for people that didn't get to watch a guide the other day. He smokes up. We get hit. We're in a kind of a center of attention. We're gonna pop our radar right here. Lay some shells on it. You can see we're gonna come in here. I'm gonna switch to AP. I cannot loft this little bump of an island here, right? Like, it's not even an island. It's a little tiny ridge. Can't do it. So we're gonna back up. We're gonna go ahead before our radar runs, shoot, and absolutely 8 overpins, or 8 full pins, guys, 4 citadels. And that's what I'm talking about, this AP. It doesn't need much to fuse. And you can see he walks out with not a lot of health after that. Had I aimed a little bit better, 8 shells, probably, if they'd gotten all of the citadel, he probably would be dead. That's okay. We get another shot where we hit 7 full pins and 9 shells in total. So you guys can see not a lot of overpins when you're using your AP, so it can be absolutely lethal to cruisers that charge you or give you a broadside up close. Now Constellation, you're gonna see we're gonna start to absolutely smash with this HE, right? Just absolutely terrorize him. He is not going to be here in this world very long, and that is all completely on his fault. He should have 100% shot and murdered me. Because if he had shot me, if that Constellation even looks in my direction, I explode. I did not expect the Constellation to charge up this quick. You can see we switch over to AP because we're going to light up him for AP, but didn't need to. Now, our Johan behind us, our Carl Johan, pretty passive, right? All this up close and personal action, Carl, well, not, I don't think is a very powerful ship. Up close, when in these circumstances, you know, that and Palmer, pretty the pretty much the best up close, really up close ships, right? They got great torps, the torp angles, they have sonar, like they have everything. And secondaries, and he just played really passive. To be fair, though, I'd much rather have somebody that's going to stay alive than throw all his health away right away. But I felt like he had a perfect opportunity to change that outcome a little bit. So without him charging in, we're going to go ahead and just get rid of Johan ourselves. You can see we're doing a significant amount of damage. Also, you can see here, we're going to angle back, or angle out. Why is that? Because we're going to make ourselves hard to hit, and we can bounce Johan shells, right? So, there's not much he's going to be able to do, and we can just whittle him away as we kite outward. As you can see, he tries to shoot us with AP, and not much there. Now, Carl Johan does move up, so thanks to him, but we're going to get rid of the Johan DeWitt, and Carl has moved up, and Atego has spotted himself. And now we're not, like, really close, but Atego's going to give us a broadside. You guys are going to see yet again how effective the AP is. And even though you have really insanely good HE, why you should use the AP. As you see, we just take, even with our rear guns, we take a significant chunk off with another Citadel. And we can see right there, we did not aim very well, but as you can see, though, Atego, not long for this world, right? You don't go broadside in a Japanese cruiser and live to tell about it too often. Split shows himself also in this division, or in this match too. You guys see I didn't hide right away. There's a couple reasons for that. You have a radar. This ship, if you know what you're doing, like any ship, you can play aggressively, right? I'm not saying it's the best for it, but you shouldn't be hiding at the back of the map with this ship. We're going to grab the cap here. But another thing I forgot to mention about this, we know there's a really good division. There's a Riga, a Roma, and a Split. They're all in division. And I know I had to hurry up, take this side out to get to them. Now, we lost a lot of our health. Carl actually goes to the other side of the island, which doesn't make sense to me. There's already other battleship there. So if you're going to try to get crossfires, you think he would have came to this side. And this is one problem with this ship, right? If you're low on health, you really can't spot with your face, right? Roma, we know, is a good player. I played this division before. I know what the result is if I go against these three by myself with no help. So we're going to try to do our best to spot and kind of take some pot shots at this Roma. We know the Split is farther out right now into the sea cap with Riga. And we have no spotting on Roma. But we got to take a pot shot and then actually go back. But you can see when we do hit them, I get shells on target, they do hurt. Alright, so now that the Roma's starting to focus towards me a little bit, we're actually going to just chill. We're not going to try to get ourselves killed here. Right? This is a close match, even though we have more points and we are kind of controlling two caps. A good division can change everything if you're not smart. So, pretty sure, knowing this division and played them before, there was communication to be had and said, Chappie is on this side of the map, we should probably take care of him. Also, you want to know how good these players probably are, just so you guys know? That Riga is going to have, like, no health, and there's going to be a bunch of, the two battleships are over there in a cruiser, and you're going to see how long he actually lives. As Roma dev strikes are, was it Hector? So we know we're in trouble. We know Roma's coming this way, and we have an idea that probably the destroyer's coming this way, as we do get located here in a second. So I know what's going on. I know they're coming to try to get rid of me. As I'm located, Roma's coming out. They're in a division. Clearly, they're not coming this way for anything else. We get spotted. I get ready. I pop my radar. He actually shoots at the same time. And the only thing I will say is sometimes the accuracy of Chappie isn't the best in the world, but we try our best here, right? We try to get stuff off. Roma takes a shot, absolutely finishes me off. I figured that was coming, but I thought I had a chance to maybe get rid of the destroyer. However, because we have the 2 caps and we distracted them 2 ships and pulled them off to the side, you're going to see all our team has to do is stay alive now on points. So, even though this wasn't the biggest damage game, our decisions we made and taking out a lot of cruisers, we didn't do a ton of damage. But remember, we wailed on 2 cruisers, or 3 cruisers, a little bit on the destroyer, and a little bit to a couple battleships. So effective damage. It wasn't all just battleships and fire damage. It was, in fact, none of it was fire damage. But as you can see, top of the leaderboard, clearly helping our team win. But anyway, you guys, GG to that enemy division. They were very solid, top of their leaderboard as well. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you folks next time.